And I guess the final movie of tonight is probably one of the, well, it is the most classic, well, yeah, it's the most classic movie of the night. Classic slasher by the name of Black Christmas from 1974, which is the most famous Christmas movie directed by Bob Clark, and the best one. It's a somewhat, it's a slasher movie. It's one of the earliest, I guess you could say, modern slashers. During a Christmas break, these sorority girls keep getting obscene phone calls, and this body count goes higher as some of these girls die under mysterious circumstances. Some police get involved, they try to tap the phone, figure out what's going on, and that is pretty much the movie. It does feel a bit sluggish at times, in my opinion. I think that's probably more the 70s speaking than anything else. But I do think, it's Black Christmas, it's one of the most classic slashers. And even though I personally not like amazed by the movie, I do think it's pretty decent. Plus there's some pretty, I wouldn't say great performances, but there's enough faces in here that I know from other movies that just makes it a slightly more enjoyable experience.
I didn't actually really see this one until, well into my adult years. It was only somewhere in the last 5 to 10 years that I actually watched this original one. I do enjoy the movie. I like the scenes with the harassing phone calls. I think it's got plenty of creepy moments in the movie. I guess my not big issue, but if I had to say something that stood out as a bit of a negative, is just it just feels like a movie that's even older than some of the other movies around its time. Because I think of other movies from the mid-70s, Carrie, Jaws, anything like that, and this movie just feels like it's even older than those. Maybe it's the fashion, I don't know. I mean, that one jealous boyfriend type guy, he just had... I felt like, he should be in the Beatles or something. I don't know. He had a stupid hairdo. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just his hairdo that really annoyed me. I don't know. Something about it just felt like... I felt like saying, hey man, it's the 70s, leave that haircut back in the 60s.
Yeah, it does. Even when I was watching it, it did feel a bit older than what it is. And I'm not sure exactly what to attribute that to.
That's my big complaint, man.
Well, it is nice seeing a lot of these now like stereotypical slasher tropes. The first person point of view. I sort of enjoyed seeing that brought up here, and also it was nice seeing a somewhat younger John Saxon. I've not really seen that many John Saxon movies, to be honest, and this came out 10 years before Nightmare on Elm Street, so it was nice seeing him here, even though his role wasn't like amazingly big. And one of the early victims of this movie was actually an actress that we recently saw in Curtains, well, recently being a strong word, but Lynn Griffin, who played one of the main characters in Curtains. So I recognized her face as soon as I saw it. So it's sort of nice seeing her in a small role 10 years earlier. And of course, Olivia Hussey, I have no idea how you pronounce her last name. It was also interesting seeing her quite a bit before the TV8 movie. And I actually had forgotten she was in this until I started watching it again. But she just has one of those faces where you instantly recognize her. Yeah, but I think this movie, I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's amazing. And, a lot of the kills themselves aren't, aside from maybe the glass dolphin, I have no idea, that horned whale type thing. That was probably the best kill in the movie just because it was so cinematic. The, Christmas song singing while this one girl's getting stabbed to death. That's probably the best kill here. But, just the whole feel of the movie. I mean, even the very dated scenes. Like when the guy's trying to chase the cow. I don't even know what he's doing, to be honest. Is that how phones used to work? I don't know. But it's just so entertaining from, I guess, a modern day perspective. Yeah, so this movie, and actually, not a small thing, even though it's like a sort of a Christmas-themed movie, honestly, this could take place just during the generic winter, and you wouldn't really notice, aside from like the Christmas carolers, and I guess the exchange of presents near the beginning. There's not really like a whole lot of Christmas themed stuff going on here. It's not like the kid dresses up as Santa Claus or anything. So I did sort of like the I guess more low key approach they took to this. And also I guess I should also mention that the conclusion. I think I really like how they went with that conclusion. Much like Faceless, it's a somewhat somber way to go to it, which makes it, I think, all the more memorable. So I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. And it's not my favorite Japanese horror movie. I mean, I don't think it would even make my top 25, to be honest. But I do think it's a pretty good movie. And I just really like seeing a slasher movie doing some of the same things that made, Halloween, which came out 4 years later, such a hit.
Yeah, I enjoy the movie. I struggle between if I'm going to give it a 7 or an 8. So the first time I watched it, I think I watched it at a really good time, because the first time I ever saw it, I remember it was Christmas Day, nighttime. I'd never seen the movie before, so I'd heard things about it, but I never really even bothered to, see clips of it I just didn't really know what to expect going in, and I came out of it pleasantly surprised, and even more so that my wife really enjoys this movie, because she saw it for the first time when I did. And then I watched it again, I think this most recent Christmas, so a couple of months ago, and I still enjoyed it, but I just felt like the really good scenes, like there's some creepy scenes in the movie, but everything in between was a little... I don't know, just the scenes in between didn't do as much for me as the better scenes in the movie, and I really like the way the movie ends. I like the last shot of the movie. If that shot wasn't in the movie, it definitely would... I wouldn't consider even going to an 8, but because of that shot, that's what's got me in this bit of a bind. I think I'm gonna go with a 7. I just... Yeah, I like it, but I don't like it enough to compare it to, I think, all the other movies that I give an 8 to. So I'm gonna go with a 7, and it may anger people to know that I did also recently watch not the newest remake, but the first remake from, I think it was 2006?
Yes.
It may anger people to know that I also gave that a 7 out of 10.
I am so angry right now. I've never actually seen that movie, but I'm just angry anyway.